Hey guys, it's Will. Hopefully you're having a great day today. In this video, we're going to go over the top ways to allocate capital according to what I found to be one of the best ways to grow my net worth. And just a friendly reminder, if you ever want some of these things, we've gone over accounts, we've gone over trading plans, savings, we've even gone into asset allocation, as well as building a positive relationship with money, even good debt versus bad debt. If you want this whiteboard, you can always go grab it in the first link in the description for free. Now, let's jump into kind of the focus for today. One of the things that we're going to cover basically is how to allocate capital. And the best way to do that is to explain to you exactly how I allocate the capital. So, the first thing that we do here is we're going to start with some multiple accounts, and this is based on the profit first formula. So the first account might be expenses. So you might have an expense account, then you might have a long-term account. So this would be the things that go towards your savings, your uh, money that you don't touch, that it's going to be for emergencies or even just building your long term net worth. And then you have assets. All money that goes into this account is for specifically then being allocated to assets, whether it's uh, stocks, it could be real estate, it could be going into your business, it could be funding things that will make you more money, whether that's equipment for your business or infrastructure. Then you're going to, I personally have a tax account. It depends on how you do it, but I have a tax account. And then we have a play account, and that account is for whatever you want. It's the guilt-free things. So you want to buy, like right now in my play account, I plan on buying an electric uh, bike that I can ride into town really fast and be able to go on adventures and stuff through the mountains here in Northern California. We could go out to dinner and just have fun. If we're, let's say, wanting to spend on something that's not really a necessity that would normally come out of expenses, it's not a necessity, but it's something that would be just for fun, let's say, then that's the play account. And that's where you could spend guilt free, not worry about spending. You're happy to spend from that account because that's what that account's designed for. And then the last account we have is our give account. So the give account is for helping people. It could be extra tips. It could be sending family money for certain things. It could be you notice someone struggling and you want to send them some extra money or allocate some extra money towards things. Good examples are also like birthdays, like giving gifts and things like that. So those things don't sneak up on you. So this is kind of how my wife and I, specialize all of our spending to specific categories. Now, there's another level to this. So the next level is to allocate the percentages accordingly. And the idea here is that you set an expense number that then means it's going to cover your expenses. And then you know what your expenses are. And you can't spend money from expenses on things that aren't for expenses. It also means you pay yourself first. So let's do an example like 40% expenses. This is the next level. And then we'll talk about allocating the capital, not just in these accounts, but then actually making the money that's in these accounts work for you so that you're not just holding money in these accounts and when they're not being spent, they're not doing anything for you. So we'll talk about that. The expense account might be, let's say, like 40% or less or more. It depends on your current living arrangement. When I was broke and I was working in lots of different jobs when I was a lot younger, DoorDash, we would do, my wife would be babysitting. We would do, I would work in solar doing construction. My dad had his general contractor's license, stuff like that. So I learned those skills. So I worked in construction some. Then I was a financial consultant. And even up until that time, I was kind of broke. And then things started to shift that point into working with other software companies and things like that. So there was a moment though where the expenses were like 70% or 80%, right? And the rest was like nothing. And so expenses kind of vary based on where you're at. But general rule is like you want to aim for like 40% or below is like pretty good. So then let's say you do like 20% long term, you do um, let's say like 20% assets, so that puts you at 80. You do like 5% play and 5% give, and then you got like 10% for taxes or something like that, or maybe that money is 15%. That's usually what mine is at. But when it comes to like taxes too, there's ways you want to structure this because oftentimes you won't have to pay taxes if you're doing your taxes right and you're writing things off. So now that you have these accounts, what's the way that you want to structure them? Well, the long-term accounts in this is like a bank account, right? Bank. So you're gonna go maybe US Bank or a local bank. US Bank has it for free. Relay Bank auto splits. So we have another account called the like business or the income account. And whenever money comes into this account, it automatically gets split percentage wise into all of the accounts. And the bank we use for that is called Relay, and it is a business bank. But you could also manually split it. It's not too bad, especially when you're getting started. So you see how your money moves. But for long term, for example, we want to do like a 4% or above uh, yield, long term high yield savings account. Same thing with the tax accounts for sure. And this is where things start to get interesting. So you're going to have a debit card for your expenses, for your probably your assets if you're connecting to accounts. Definitely a play, one for him, one for her, or just one depending on your dynamic. But a play card and a give card. So you have different cards in your Apple Pay or just in your wallet that are for each account. So you spend from each account. So that's how we do it. Now, the next thing that could happen, you're going to do this, and even when you have $100, you're going to feel like you have so much money. Like imagine I take $100, I got $40 over here, I got 20 over here, 20 over here, 15 over here, five. I'm going to be looking at it and be like, wow, look at all this money that I have. And it's very encouraging to see the buildup of the capital. And even though it was only $100, it gives you this really cool sense. So let's talk about the allocation once you get into this point. The allocation and how we do it is, for example, on the expense side of things, we also have an account that holds Bitcoin and Solana mostly, because I like that. And we usually take somewhere around, like, let's say that this account starts to get big. When it gets to a point where you start to build these accounts out, I go over to something called Phantom Wallet, which is where you could create a wallet for crypto, and they'll let you create as many accounts as you want to differentiate where you store your crypto. And I allocate at least 50% of each of these. So about 50% of each of these into, and the assets one is a little tricky, I'll show you that, into crypto. So, and also the play one's a little tricky. But the reason you do this, especially with expense or long term, especially with long term and especially with tax, is because Bitcoin has been beating the market. It has been, I don't know what the average is over the last 10 years. I mean, we could search what is the average, what's the average return of Bitcoin over the last 10 years? And the answer is 40, or no, 40 or 83% a year. So call me crazy, but if an asset has been averaging 83% a year for 10 years, I'm allocating into that asset for sure. And so this is something we do. So we go Bitcoin and Solana for each of these. And you create like accounts 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Phantom wallet. And you take the debit card from these accounts, which you want to create, a debit card for each account, and you pay into the Phantom wallet to store half of the capital in these accounts that you start to build as crypto. And what you'll find is that they will appreciate over time, and it will not only will it keep you most likely from spending more than you have to out of these accounts because you'll kind of separate it, but then you'll also have half of it growing at a very much faster rate than just holding cash. Now, on top of that, what you can do is the next step with this, and we'll touch on assets here too, is to have in each of these crypto accounts, one, two, three, four, or what have you, they allow you to connect your crypto to wallets so that you could spend debit cards. So it does happen where you could spend your crypto and it spends on a Visa or a MasterCard like cash, but in the account of which it's stored as crypto. So that's one way that we do it. Now, when it comes to assets, assets are a little tricky because they depend on your situation. And there's a different season for different assets. So one of the assets in this case would be like crypto, like you have some going to crypto. The other assets most likely would be stocks, a large allocation I have. My assets go to stocks. Another allocation of assets could be real estate. So that could be towards remodeling. Like, for example, we're remodeling this kitchen behind me. You can see these lights up here, and we put money towards like the remodel, money towards improving the properties, money towards getting deals, sending out potential marketing for people that want to sell their home, and money into that. So, real estate. And then a really, the biggest asset is going to be like education too in yourself. Anytime I find a moment where I'm like, gosh, I'm at a wall or I'm at the ceiling, I'm like, I know exactly what it is. It's the number one thing that always is the solution when I hit a ceiling. It is that I don't have the new skills to get me to the next level. That's what it is. That's all it is. So you don't have the knowledge to get you to the next level. That is what it is. It comes down to knowledge. And sometimes the ultimate power and iteration of that knowledge is action. It's taking action on the new knowledge. Verifying the knowledge, making sure it's good, and then taking action on it. So, assets, we got stocks, we got crypto, we got real estate. Where else do we put assets? We put assets into business for sure. Like, I'm happy to spend on this iPad, spend more on giving myself the technology to be able to do the things that help me run our social media, like our YouTube channels, or back into our software, the business. We have like a team, we have team members where we have people that are highly skilled and they require pay to help with things like automations or development, software engineering, or editing, or customer service, or all the things that go with thumbnails. So I could put a name to all of those positions as we have a team. And so the money from assets, a lot of it goes to business as well. And so we also in business kind of like go into different accounts. We got like an employee account. So where we pay out employees, right? We have like an ad account where we use for marketing. We have an account for infrastructure. And those accounts are also up here. So we have like extra accounts. This is just kind of like the basic, but I also have business accounts for each of these that are in the bank, right? But they're also in the crypto as well for all these. So that is the basic overview of exactly how we segment the money that comes in and then we turn it into income producing assets. And so that is the cash to asset kind of formula. Pretty cool, right? So, how many of you guys think this would help you benefit to be able to grow your net worth? I think so, and I'm excited to share it with you. If you want this full whiteboard, it's the first link in the description. If you would like to learn how to capitalize on some of these assets, you can go to cash2assets.com/stockmates. We go live in a session where we invest in stocks and we talk business and crypto and the markets, AI stocks, quantum stocks, everything else. It's the first link in the description, second link, sorry, in the description if you want to join us in our live session every day, Monday through Friday at 6:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so 9:30 Eastern. And right now, if you go, you'll also get this free t-shirt that I'm wearing. I'll send it to you anywhere in the world if you want to grab it, and I would love to be a part of your success. Thanks so much for watching, guys. If I earned the thumbs up, hit the like button. Do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you.